What are 9 characteristics of a spiritually empowered person that you can learn and develop today, that you can take note of and that you can be conscious of? And it's not going to be like something surprisingly different. You're going to be aware of these things, but maybe you've never valued them. And maybe tonight you'll see how they connect to your consciousness, how they connect to the balance of masculine and feminine energy, and how they can help you to step back into who you are, the grace and the beauty of who you are, to help you reconnect with the truth. And the first characteristic of a spiritually empowered person, the very first characteristic, begins with having humility. The courage to have humility is the first component of the spiritually empowered adult. And the humility that it says, you know what? I'm not going to assume that what I was learned in church is correct. I'm not going to assume that everything I've been bombarded with my whole life is true. That men are better than women, as an example. That's not true. And so humility is willing to see things brand new. It's willing to look through fresh eyes. That just because things have been this way in the past, they can be different today. Things can change. I can change. That willingness and courage, the willingness to be wrong in the pursuit of what's right, is a component that a spiritually empowered person is not afraid to do. The ego doesn't want to be wrong. The ego has to be right. The know-it-all. Oh yeah, I know this. Oh yeah, Mikhail, I know. Oh yeah, I know this. It doesn't want to think. It doesn't want to feel. It wants to either agree or disagree, but it doesn't have power. So the first component is expanding. Have humility. Be willing to look through fresh eyes. Be willing to think about this, to take some time to think and look at the relationship here and how they come together. The second component is to focus on being understanding more than focusing on trying to be understood. Let me try to understand myself. Let me understand my pain. Let me understand what I've been through. Let me be an understanding person. Being understanding is different than just intellectual understanding. Being understanding is about bringing your mind and your heart together. See, the intellect is the masculine energy of understanding is, I understand it intellectually. I'm thinking about it and I see what you're saying. I understand it. I get it, Mikhail. I get it. I understand. That's intellect. Then there's the understanding of the heart. When you feel the compassion and the caring. When you bring that understanding of the heart together with the intellectual understanding, you give birth to a person who is being understanding. Balance from the feminine energy of feeling with the masculine energy of thinking. There's an energy, a synergy of understanding where you become an understanding person. Where the ego in you says, well, I'll do that, Mikhail. I'll figure out everybody else as soon as I'm understood. As soon as everybody gets who I am and figures out who I am and values me, then I'll start to value them. As soon as they love me, then I'll love them. As soon as they care for me, then I'll care for them. That whole ego, I want to be understood first before I'm going to be understanding. When am I ever going to be understood? Poor me. Be understanding towards yourself. Be understanding towards yourself. And that is a level of compassion. When you bring the intellect and the heart, when you bring your mind and heart together, I love these. I used to teach with a blackboard and visuals, so now I'm using my body as visual. So I'm jumping around a lot here. But when you bring your mind, understanding of the mind with the understanding of the heart, and you unite them, the masculine and feminine energy, you give birth to being an understanding person. And guess what? When you do that, you don't need other people to get you, to understand you. You don't need validation from others. Now guess what? Here's the magic about it. People do get you when you are an understanding person. You don't attract people who are going to not get you. And that's part of the magic of being whole and being spiritually aligned. And that is the second component of an spiritually empowered adult, is being understanding. The first component is the courage to have humility. The third component is to let yourself, because of the chauvinism and the repression of emotion, is to have and focus on emotional awareness, depth, curiosity, and respect. Emotional awareness. Let me be aware. What am I feeling? What am I feeling? I'm feeling upset. That's a description. That's not a feeling. I'm perturbed. My feathers are ruffled. I'm feeling okay. How are you doing today? Oh, I'm okay. That's not a feeling. It's a description. How am I feeling? I feel good today. Is another description. How am I feeling? I'm so happy and joyful. I'm so appreciative. I'm so I'm so sad. I'm very, very sad today. I'm feeling, to be aware of how you're feeling. That's honoring and feeding your soul and listening to the whispers of your soul. Your soul will guide you through your emotions, but if you cut off the vocal cords, if you disconnect from your soul by shutting down your emotions, by shutting down your passion, by shutting down your creativity, you shut down your power. And so the third component is to be emotionally aware, to give yourself permission that you've been taught to ignore, deny, to run from your emotions, but let yourself open up those emotions. Let yourself feel with depth, with curiosity. What am I feeling today? Why do I feel this way? Why am I feeling depressed? And you know why? Think about the word depressed. Well, what have I been doing with my emotions? They're repressed. Depressed, repressed, shoved down, and all this energy that it takes for my subconscious mind to hold in all these emotions and to ignore it and to avoid anything that's going to cause me to feel those emotions is exhausting. And one day you wake up and you have no energy. I'm depressed. I have no motivation. Why? Where do you think motivation comes from? Your emotions. And when you've shut down your emotions, you have no motivation. You have no communication. Talk about the weather, talk about the surface thing, but there's no depth, there's no connection. I don't feel like I connect or belong anywhere. That's a crisis in our world because of this disconnection emotionally. So the third component, and I don't have time to go into that, I could talk about that for another 2 hours. Emotional awareness that has depth, curiosity, and respect. The fourth component of a spiritually empowered adult, a spiritually empowered individual, is that they function day in and day out with value. Knowing they matter, knowing you're valuable, knowing you have a soul and spirit, knowing you're connected to the divine. Not value according to how much money's in your bank or what titles you have or what education you got, but you are valuable and you are loving. To function with value, love, joy, gratitude, appreciation, and celebration. A spiritually awakened individual. And it's not the kind of, I'm going to appreciate and grateful by saying thank you, I appreciate it, but they genuinely feel it at the depth of their soul. It's not just hollow words. I know gratitude is supposed to be a powerful force. I'm going to go around and say, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. Yeah, I really appreciate that, but I don't feel anything. It's up in my head, and it's an effort to look like I'm being grateful, to look like I'm appreciative. It's not genuine. It's not real. Without the feeling nature, the one that came before it, without the feeling, when you truly have allowed yourself to have the courage to have humility, when you've allowed yourself to focus on being understanding towards yourself and others, when you open up and awaken that emotional aliveness within you, then you start to function with value and love. And gratitude and appreciation is who you are. It's not something I go do. Forgot to say thank you. No, you do it. You live in celebration. That is the fourth component. Now, that doesn't mean a person is always there, meaning like they never get sad, no, they honor their feelings. Sometimes they get sad. Feeling compassion is feeling other people's pain. And a spiritually awakened person feels other people's pain. They feel the pain in the world, and the soul weeps at the injustices in the world. The soul is tender and vulnerable and alive and vibrant, and it weeps at and it celebrates at any act of human kindness. You watch the news and you see somebody you don't even know from around the world, and your soul weeps for them. That is your soul responding to the beauty. So to be emotionally alive doesn't mean I only feel positive emotions, but day in and day out, the majority of my feeling comes from feeling valuable. I'm valuable, and so is everyone else. And I come with love and understanding, and I come from gratitude and appreciation and celebration. That is the fourth component of a spiritually awakened individual. The fifth component is a spiritually awakened individual is always reaching for greater freedom, always reaching for greater understanding with responsibility. Taking responsibility is a spiritual trait. The ego loves to blame. It's your fault. It's your fault. I'm a victim. This is what happened. Poor me. I can't do this because of that, because of what happened, because of what they said, because of this. Giving my power away, giving my power away, giving my power away, refusing to respond, refusing to be responsible. And responsibility leads you to freedom. Whatever you can take responsibility for, whether it's ill health or whether it's your relationships or whether it's your emotional state, whatever you can take responsibility for, you can respond to and change. But when you don't, you give your power away and you become powerless. And the ego then blames and takes, rather than takes responsibility and opens up to greater freedom in your life. That's the fifth component of a spiritually awakened adult.